Naira Marley fires back at Execujet. The federal government is now warning states not to reopen schools and other gatherings. And then NCDC DG claims that there are more cases of coronavirus in Nigeria than is reported. Now, these are the things we're going to be talking about this morning. So we're getting to work. Now, the very first thing we're going to be talking about is the issue of the federal government warning against the reopening of schools, especially in states that have been moving towards that. Now, you understand that Cross River has already reopened public schools, which is something that the federal government is complaining about and saying that it's a very dangerous thing. Again, you remember that Cross River is one of those states, apart from Kogi State, that decided that they didn't have any case of coronavirus in their state. So that is very understandable for them to be one of the states that would reopen as like the first state that's going to reopen. So that is very understandable. But again, now the federal government is warning all the states that they need to close all the schools back again, because there's going to be a situation where they are going to compromise all the quarantines that they're having in other states. Again, remember, not all the students in Cross River are going to be from Cross River, which means some people are going to be coming over from Lagos, some people are going to be coming over from the west, so from the north, from all over. So that's the situation. That's the reason why the federal government is warning against that right now. Now, that may be a right decision, may be a wrong decision, whatever it is, that's opinionating. Again, that's the situation right now. That's exactly what the federal government is warning against. And of course, Oyo State is among them, because these states were especially stated by the federal government. And of course, you remember just a couple of days ago, Lagos State is saying now that whatever they have scheduled as their plans for reopening schools in Lagos State have been dropped. So even Lagos State is not trying to do that right now. And of course, Lagos State is a lot more understandable because, you know, that is the epicenter of the problem in Nigeria. So now they are not going to be doing that in Lagos State. And then Oyo State has already planned to reopen by the end of the month their schools. But again, it seems it's not going to be possible now. The federal government is warning against it, that it is going to compromise all the efforts that the federal government has been trying to put in place to contain this virus. And then, of course, we have Kano State. Kano State is now allowing football viewing centers to reopen, which is a very big problem because most of the states across the nation, of course, it all depends on the governors, but most of the states across the nation are not permitting that at the moment because the Premier League is going to start very soon. The Bundesliga is going on. So football is coming back. And we know that Nigeria is one of the biggest nations full of fans of football. Like if there's going to be any sport in Nigeria that people love the most, it's just soccer. People love soccer so much in Nigeria. Almost like we're in Europe. That's the way it is. So that's the situation. So now, Kano State is going to be reopening all those viewing centers, and then it is going to pose a very huge problem. Maybe there's going to be a standoff between the Kano State government and then the federal government. So nobody really knows what's going to be happening. We're going to be following up on what is going on that front. And again, the federal government is also complaining about people who have been violating guidelines. We all understand everybody's doing it. I mean, even the reopening of the markets, everything, these things are all violations. All these things we are doing, again, it's just public relations affairs. That's exactly what this thing is. Most people do what they want to do at any point in time. And the reason why they are reopening markets and not allowing churches and mosques to reopen for the most part, in some places, of course, they've already reopened them now. But again, and of course, when it comes to school, it's because they are scared of the backlash. There's going to be a serious backlash if you don't open the market for people to feed themselves. Hungry man is an angry man. So they don't want that sort of a backlash from the population. Again, some of these people are going to be going for re-election this year and sometimes in the future. So many of them don't want to face that sort of angry electorate. So they don't want to go through that difficult situation. And of course, that's one of the reasons why most of the states that are reopening all these things first are the states where there's going to be an election or there's going to be like serious political ramifications for the politicians if they don't consider the interest of the people. Of course, the lives of the people are part of the interest of the people, but most people don't care about the issue of safety when it comes to hunger. Again, Nigeria, most people are just trying to get by. Most people are trying to survive. So you can't tell somebody that is very hungry now that there's like about 2% chance that he might get the coronavirus, and even after getting the coronavirus, there's only about 20% chance that the virus may be severe in his body, and tell him not to go out to get his daily earnings. So that is going to be a very difficult pitch for you to lay for that person. So that's one of the problems there. Then we'll go over to the Naira Marley finale. After the entire debacle that happened over the weekend with Naira Marley hosting the a concert in Abuja and all of that, and then the federal government has been trying everything possible to prosecute the case, trying to bring him to justice and all of that, saying that it was endangering the lives of people, not only those people who went there willingly, because those people went there willingly. So not only the lives of people who went there willingly to risk themselves, but the lives of those people who might be at risk when those people, let's say they get something, that some of those people get the virus from congregating together and not social distancing, and then they go back home to give it to somebody who might be vulnerable. Maybe those guys who went there are not so vulnerable. I mean, for them to have gone there, they are probably young and not going to be very vulnerable. So it's probably not going to kill them, so no problem for them, but they might give it to somebody, maybe a family member that's a lot older, or a family member that has an immune system that has been compromised and might be a very big problem for the person. So that's the problem. So right now, after the entire thing, and because the company, that's ExecuJet, was banned sort of indefinitely by the federal government, so what happened was that ExecuJet, in pleading their own case to the federal government and pleading against what happened, trying to get like a sentence that is a lot lower and a lot simpler for them, they decided to call Naira Marley a sort of useless person. So they decided that, we just wanted to pick up the judge. That's the judge that was supposed to take the flight. So there was a particular judge that should take the flight, but Naira Marley people, I don't know how that actually happened. They ended up being the passengers for the flight. So what they said was that, okay, we thought we were going to be having those important people, and suddenly we ended up with useless people that we didn't know that we were going to be ending up with useless people. So that was actually a dig, like a serious dig at Naira Marley and his people. So Naira Marley now fires back, calling them useless, and they will never hire the services of ExecuJet anymore. So that's what has been happening now. So there's a whole lot of tensions going on all sides compared to this. So it's something very serious. So we're going to be bringing you any sort of updates on that front again. And then we have NCDC DG, that's the Director General, saying that there are more cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria than the cases we have reported, and this seems it's something that is very, very understandable for everyone, because remember, we have about 200 million Nigerians. Again, the total number of tests we have run in Nigeria since March. Remember, the index case came in 27th of February. So since March, the total number of tests we have done, every single test is just 96,402 tests. So which means even if every single case of the test came out positive, it means the highest number we could ever have at this moment would be 96,000 positive at this point, which is not possible. Again, most of the other cases and most of the other people all around in the world have a lot more cases, especially in countries where they have the sort of population where we have in Nigeria. Again, the United Kingdom has over 200,000 cases, and they are very, very small in comparison to us. They are not even up to 100 million people in the United Kingdom. Here we have 200 million people. Like the countries that are close to our own population, they have a lot more cases than us. So it means that the number of cases we have actually depends on the number of tests we have done. So I've not been doing so many tests, but though we have increased the number of tests we have been doing very rapidly in a couple of 2 weeks from now, which is a very good thing, which is one of the reasons why you are seeing a lot more positive cases happening in the news. That's why you see sometimes 600 cases on a single day, sometimes 500 cases, 400 cases. That's the reason why you're having all those increase in numbers, because you're having more tests. So it's just like you are snooping more and searching more, so you are going to get more. So that's just the way it is. So if you have a particular number of people in a particular street who have the virus, and then you're only doing one test per day, it means the highest number of tests, the number of people that are going to be positive per day at most is going to be just one. But if you are doing up to 100 tests in a day, it means the number of people who are going to be coming up positive in that street will increase, especially if there are actually a lot of people who are positive in that street. So it's just a means of identifying the cases on ground. Doesn't mean that they are trying to spike the case, doesn't mean that they're trying to inflate the cases, but it means that we are starting to increase our testing. Again, it's still very, very low. In the United States, they have about 400,000 tests in a single day. That's like swallows up all the tests we've been doing since the beginning of March to this moment. We have only done 96,000 tests again, which is very, very awkward. And it's just 17,148 cases that we have on ground at this moment, which actually gives the lie to the complaints that people have been having that all the number of tests, whenever you get tested for the COVID-19, that you're definitely going to get positive. If you're definitely going to get positive, how is it that we have just 17,000 cases and 96,000 tests? So that means that is not true. A lot less number of people are going to get positive results compared to the number of tests that have been done. So there's nobody trying to trick you with a test of the COVID-19. If you have any sort of symptoms, simply go over to the medical places and get tested. The accredited places, get tested and stay safe. Anyway, thank you very much. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.